am on the Board of Health, blah, blah. But I'm thinking, well, if you're having a meeting on this, why not give people, because now you don't have to show a license, you don't have to prove where you live. I would be more than happy if it's appropriate to do either meeting, but I think it would be a terrific collaboration with newcomers to try to generate a little interest in them in prevention.
I'll bring it up this week and see. We could always put packets together.
Yeah, she gave me the brochure, so I have that. I'll be passing that out. But I just thought, hey, it's another. I would think if I announce that they can get it at town hall, which of course they can, that people won't remember to do it, or they'll always think something's more important. But if we're going to have the meeting on the topic, why not?
Yeah, I'll bring it up later in the week and
Terrific,
see
good.
what we can do.
Okay.
Guys,
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Terrific.
Did you push the button?
There you are, back to the crib, covered with radiation sores, but your thyroid works.
Well, whatever. I've already given my kids the talk that they're not to come down and rescue us. So my daughter, who's very, matter of fact, said, don't you worry, Mom. The state police aren't going to let you cross over the bridge. And I said, darn, I wish I had a boat. But knowing my luck, it would be in the winter,
If you cross,
and the boat would be, whatever you call it, dry docked, or whatever you call it.
if you cross over the bridge, it's too late.
No.
You've already
Well,
been
what
through
my-
the major roads.
Well, what my husband reminded me, which made me really sad, is two of our three children would be wiped out because they live in Boston, 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
So they'd be going down with us. We'd all go to heaven together.
Yeah, that's right.
That's not so bad.
Well, my friends.
And now for the lighter side of it.
Yes, we'll have this meeting, so wastewater won't seem so terrible.
Are we ready to get into it?
Yes,
Here
make
we
it
are,
a
6:03.
little humorous.
Okay.
Not really,
I'd like
but-
to call the meeting to order.
Oh,
Please do.
okay, yes.
Ta-da.
No one ever uses it. That's so exciting.
So,
Well, you look very presidential or chairman or whatever.
well, thank you. So we'll call the meeting to order. Now, we'll look at the minutes from the previous meeting.
Yeah, there's one correction I'd like to make. The minute said that let me get the minutes out, and that's all will be accurate.
So we're looking at April 10th.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, it said that I had asked if they had a hand washing policy.
No, those are
And it
agendas.
said that,
Agendas.
let's see, where is it? On line
Here.
2.
There, thanks.
It's in there somewhere.
Shuffle through it.
Hold on just a second.
Oh, here we go, right here.
Yeah,
This
I
is
got
the
the
third page.
paragraph. It's what,
Dr. Cushing asked.
yeah, let's see. Oh, I know what it was. Hand washing has been a major source of infection. It's not hand washing was the major source of infection.
So the lack of.
Lack
Oh.
of, yeah. Otherwise, I agree.
Tell you, that made me not want to eat candy for the rest of my life.
Any other corrections?
Looked good to me.
Can I hear a motion?
I'll make
So
a,
moved.
and I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We've accepted the meeting minutes of March. Next on our agenda, we have the work session.
We do have the work session.
Megan?
So continued from last month and the month before that, the upcoming sewer implementation phase 2 has been on our agenda, and I've had meetings with the wastewater support committee, the town administrator, as well as the community development director from Chatham, who oversees their sewer department. And I've actually met with town council today regarding our role, what we can and can't implement, what laws and bylaws we cite for mandatory sewer connections, and what sort of authority we have to do that. So I just want to assure the board and the public that that mechanism is in place in the current sewer regulations that were adopted in 2015. 2017, they were put into a bylaw from the town, for the town. So the Board of Health has the authority to require mandatory sewer connections. So there shouldn't be any thinking we need to go further with town council on that. We have the option of creating our own separate sewer regulation. The town of Chatham did that. So the town has their sewer regulation that we are underneath, we are encompassed by. Thank you. However, we could adopt as a Board of Health a separate mandatory sewer connection regulation. The Board of Health in Chatham has done that, and it's a one-page regulation that outlines the why we're connecting and who's connecting and when, and the procedure for requesting a waiver or a variance.
Was that part
Good
of the
idea.
IMA? Was that-
It's, the IMA says that we should mirror Chatham as much as possible, so it wouldn't be something I think the selectmen would feel uncomfortable with. It's,
You're right, Megan. The IMA says we have to, people are mandatory, connections are mandatory.
Yeah.
Because, we're only serving half the town, so it doesn't work. So we're not, normally we talk about protecting health, this is protecting abatements, and so we're serving enough homes removing nitrogen. But I appreciate what you're saying, Megan, because within that framework, you guys can say, what's the criteria for a waiver? All those rules, people are really, Cynthia, that came up on a Saturday.
Oh, my gosh, that was wouldn't you say that was the lead and most frequent question was about the hookup?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's really what people are waiting for, what happens if, the questions.
yeah, what happens if you can't do it right away? What are my
Can't
options?
afford it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't want to do it.
and just put a new system in.
Right.
Just
That
put
doesn't
my-
work, but the questions are,
Right.
I'm gonna be sued if I'm told I need a septic now, quite frankly, I'd complain, because I'm gonna be 3 years down the road, I'm gonna be hooked up.
Mhm.
And that's one of the questions, and then the other one is, just put septic in, are you gonna give me some leeway?
Yes.
And, towns, when I talk to people, some towns have been more lenient than others, and I think, maybe you made the point the last meeting, or maybe it's good. We're trying to do this humanely, that's an
Yeah, yeah.
exaggerated statement, but, so, I'm here to,
Yeah.
A lot of questions on it, yeah. Wasn't there a lot I thought that you did a great job, you and Chris, and the question I have for you is, I know Ann Howe, she's in newcomers. What's her role in saying that she and, I don't know what other kind of committee are putting together a Q&A themselves to distribute to townspeople? What, is that part of the town? I mean, I know she's talked with you, but
There-
she's doing her own,
She's
she's drafting it.
She's on the wastewater.
Oh, so that's.
Support
part-
committee.
Okay, so that's
Yes.
part of, connected to the town, that's good.
Yes, she's a committee. She's on the
yeah,
committee.
the feedback that we've been getting, partly came out on Saturday. Cynthia and I was at we were at a Democratic
Town monthly meeting.
Mhm.
and they were answering questions. Part of the questions that's come up are the details, and it's caught me by surprise. I've been so focused on the main $22 million when the connection part came up, because we're talking 5,000, 10,000. In any case, there's been a lot of questions on the details, Who do they, goes back to you guys partly, is who do they come to first to
Yeah.
get the permits to have it happen? And I think we decided the town's going to Board of Health because you did septic. But that hasn't been clearly stated.
Right.
And one of the, yeah, sorry.
And I think the information needs to be distilled down, so
Yes.
it's easy to understand, not the wide range of regulations that we have to digest.
I've had meetings where they're, saying, oh my God, I'm gonna have to get, someone to dig the trenches, and I'm gonna get an electrician and plumber. I said, well, you can't, I'm not. Whoever I hire is gonna connect me, they're gonna figure out the rest of it, that's what you do when you build a house, right?
Right, there needs
But
to
it
be
was that
plenty
level
of,
of detail. And
Well, they-
Ian,
But
yeah.
Ann's putting together that level of detail.
But the thing that surprised me was, that's why I asked you what committee she was on, is that she was, if I got this right, because a lot of people wanted to know about the connection, she was saying, oh, she told about 4 different good things, that paperwork, that people could be prepared to have ahead, but then she told them to look around their basement and see where maybe they would have it connected. And I said, I really think you need to talk with you and the Board of Health, because my understanding, which could be very inaccurate, is that when there's new homes being built, the Board of Health is asking that the connecting mechanism be on the front of the house, so that it's easier to get, easier to get to. But she obviously is gonna, obviously, if she's on the town committee, she's gonna be doing more talking, but that, I didn't wanna get into,
Well,
I agree with that, see, I agree with that, I think she got off base on that, because what our direction's been, in all the meetings that we would have, is that once they come to you, then you get an engineer design to answer the
Yeah.
question about, she can't answer that in a vacuum, that's a case-by-case basis.
yeah,
right, so we require the sewer line to come out the front when we do a subdivision, but not every new house is required to do that. So if it's an individual
Oh.
home,
well, this is existing property.
right,
So she knows, I just said in the meeting that you folks are very helpful. If people have questions, they should be checking on the web, and they should be talking to a member of your staff.
yes, yeah. And
Is
we
the bottom
get,
line.
we're already getting tons of
Right.
questions.
Great.
So, as far as more work for us goes, I did, in your packet is, right now, our real estate transfer regulations allow for a waiver of inspection. So it's called an alternative to inspection.
Mhm.
That's when a septic system is, when a house is being transferred for a real estate transfer and it has a cesspool, cesspools automatically fail. So instead of us telling people that they have to get it inspected because Title V says you need an inspection when we know it's gonna fail, we offer a waiver, and it's an agreement between the buyer and the seller that says, we know the system is in failure. We're gonna transfer our property on this date, and we're going to hire this engineer and this installer, and have the system replaced within, this is 45 days for a cesspool to a Title V. But I did draft something for Phase 2 sewer area. I just wanted your opinion on it. Because houses will transfer before sewer is actually available. We have a 3-year, at least a 3-year time frame before houses can connect, but in that time frame, there'll be real estate transfers happening, and some of them will fail, or some of them will be with cesspools, and we don't want to force someone to put in a new Title V system when in 3 years we're going to say, okay, now spend an extra.
Absolutely not.
I thought this was a nice job, very clear to me.
Okay.
There's a copy of that.
Sure, you can have this one if you'd like. It's just a draft, but we have one for our cesspools, for our Title V systems already in place. So it's adapted for just Phase 2 sewers. So it's mostly just for the cesspools because we know they're going to fail. I'm not sure if you want to use it. I would caution against using it for all Title V inspections, because if we're going to grant a waiver, we want to know what the system's condition is. We want to make sure that the system isn't full to the top. If we're going to allow it to be used for 3 years. So there might need to be some thought put into that.
They have to be an we were in that situation 2 years ago when we sold our house, and we thought it was mandatory. We put in a new septic for the new people. We just thought that was, maybe it was I don't know who advised us. I don't think it was the town. I think it was our realtor. So we just did it. No big deal. But maybe, would there be some language about that if they are applying for this, that they have to have the system inspected
Have it looked
as
at.
part of this?
I think that's probably a good idea to have, because in that there's language saying, should it become a public health issue where it's bubbling onto the ground or creating some other kind of health hazard, then other measures would have to be taken, whether that's a new system or something in between, tight tank kind of situation until you can limp along to get to the sewer.
And whose responsibility financially would that be? Would it be the new owner or the person who sold? I mean, that's
The current owner, the seller, the current owner.
the seller or
Would be the current owner.
the current owner, so if they sell the house.
Problem.
Oh, okay.
Right, so if you had this agreement and the house is sold, and now you're the new owner.
So they're
and-
responsible.
And it's causing issues, then you as the current owner would be responsible for
That might be a
pumping
good
or-
question to have in the Q&A then.
Well, it's something that's not, I mean, that's something that I am suggesting, but I think selectmen and the public
Oh.
at large would really like to make sure that's something that will be approved by the board. I know I can give you my opinion and recommend things, but it's really, these waivers will come through you. So they want
So
to
it's going to
know.
be a case-by-case basis. You know, the system is in failure and bubbling over. We can't let that exist.
Yeah.
System is working fine, but and the septic is coming. We should bridge that so they're not financially strapped to put in a $20,000 system to only have it ripped out
3 years
in
later.
a year,
Yeah.
Right.
3 years.
Uh-huh.
So as long as we're sensitive to not only the transactions, and then the other side of the coin is the financial burden that some people aren't going to have in their budget to connect, and will need time to figure that out, and we can help them with resources. So I
Right.
think the whole, our most important thing will be the customer service side of your septic system, as they come to our window with their basic questions, mostly based around cost and how soon am I going to have to do whatever you want me to do. And I think that as long as we're upfront with a reasonable progression and you know, comfortable timeframes, no one's going to be financially hurt.
Yeah.
So we-
I think the question I asked last time, and I can't remember the answer, sorry, that's
Mhm.
because I'm not 39 anymore. With all this workload, and I know it's over a 10-year period, but is there going to be any consideration for your staff to expand? Or it seems to me that if we're doing this over 10 years, it will be a very large % of the business that we have once a month
Mhm.
with this group here, and how do we work that so that we have the ability to do the other business, which is all the new homes and inspect, all the other business that you guys do and that we give you feedback?
Mhm.
How is that gonna work?
As far as the day-to-day operations of inspections and permits and things like that, the grand plan is to have a sewer commissioner, or we
Oh.
will have a sewer commissioner,
Okay.
but until we have more people that have hooked up to the sewer system, we can't fund that.
Yeah.
So I'm working with Dan from the water department, who will be the sewer commissioner. And we're working together now because I do this for septic systems now. So it's not new, it's not unfamiliar. We're used to licensing installers and doing inspections. But eventually we'll probably transition so we're not the holder of the permits for sewer connections, and it will be under the sewer commissioner. And inspections and things like that will be under sewer commissioner. But for now, because.
And the whole billing structure will be under the sewer
Yes.
commissioner,
Oh.
like the water department
Right,
is right now.
right.
So
They
they're
bill
got an
just like-
As long as
infrastructure
whoever
for it.
manages it has adequate staff, having worked for the state government. We
Yeah.
had so many unfunded mandates that it was really wild, and I would hate, as part of, so I'm advocating.
Yes,
That as
I
part of
appreciate
this
that.
discussion, that, and I don't know how many people he has in his water department, but it sounds like it might be a part-time job eventually when we know more.
Yes, and right now, the town of Chatham contracts out their inspections So it may
Ah.
be something that the town of Harwich will have to do as well.
Okay,
And we
Right.
do have money in the health department budget for contract work, so right now we use it for our test holes, but we could use it for that as well, so.
okay, so that's in the works,
Yes.
thinking phase, good.
Yes, I'd say that it will become a big part of our job for many years. Just like when Title V changed in 1995, our workload increased tremendously. But I don't think it's something that we can't handle. And if need be, I know the town administrator is willing and able to listen for more work,
Good.
more help if needed.
Good, okay, good.
So that's what's coming up, and I just wanted you to have that as a draft, because I think it's something that you need to look at and really think about before we just say, okay, let's enact it. So maybe I'll bring it back to you next month.
That
Well,
would be great.
The only suggestion I would say is make sure that all your drafts are dated, and that way you'll know that everybody's talking about the same, once there's some language changes.
Okay. We have a couple minutes before 7 if you wanted me to do my report.
Sure. Megan, may I
Yes.
ask a question? Are you going to circulate what they're doing in Chatham in terms of, because this is good, I think, in someplace, you're going to have to come to a decision on, what's the waiver mean? What's the maximum that you can waiver? 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Because it'll come up, and I think that'll be one of the questions. Because it can't go forever, because it's years maybe.
Right.
And I've heard people say, well, we'll give away for 10 years, but that's nonsense, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You mean
And I
if they
think that
don't,
would be a policy for you guys on some of those broader criteria, right?
Mhm.
As we said, yeah, I think that's,
Right.
what people are
is he
looking
asking
for.
about whether, say the sewer implementation is delayed, is that it?
No, I think he's asking, say we issue an order to connect
Yeah,
and someone applies for an extension.
yeah,
Are we gonna cap our extension at,
well, you said 45 days after the connection is available.
for the real estate transfer?
Yeah, right.
Right, so for a real estate transfer, I'd say it's kind of cut and dry with the 45 days after it's available. But in general, if there isn't a real estate
Okay.
transfer and someone's living in a house and has put a septic system in last year and they've asked for an extension
I
to
see.
connect,
Okay.
I'm just saying, that's gonna put you on pressure, because you grant a waiver, they're gonna be pushing for as long as possible.
yeah.
Hmm.
And somebody may want to come on and say, okay, we're kind, and we're friendly folks, but you can't go forever.
Yeah.
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 This is, minimize discussions going forward, that's not.
That we're not-
In the debate.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's convenient to have Chatham next door, having lived through all this, and we're really walking in their footsteps.
Yeah.
All these issues have come up, I'm sure, with them, and I know Megan's in touch with them daily. So we could structure a lot of the things around those. Have a kind of a template that the
Right.
waivers
You're
would
not
fall
following
into.
Exactly, but that's.
Yeah, and just speaking with
I just don't want to leave it.
Bob today,
Wait.
I did ask that question, do you have a template or some kind
Yeah.
of way to figure out how long you're going to give? And he said, no, they're all on a case-by-case basis,
Hmm.
and they're all given milestones. So say we give, okay, we're gonna give you 3 years, but in 2 years, I need you to hire an engineer and have design plans done, and by 2.5 years, have an installer lined up. So you give them milestones, so you're not saying, okay, in 3 years, we're expecting you to have this done.
But that's perfect, because then you can eliminate some of the debate if you have that up front.
Mhm, yeah,
Hmm.
right. And
So can I ask you a question that's indirectly related to this, just so before the public comes in?
sure.
With the discussion of the new fire station,
Mhm.
and since part of that's the septic, and since that's in my neighborhood, when that happens, when you're on the Board of Health, do you need to I read everything. I don't find that I have any conflict of interest. I don't think I have a conflict of interest, but how is that handled? So it doesn't look like I'm in favor or against or whatever because it's in my neighborhood.
You're a taxpayer and you live in the town, so you wouldn't necessarily have a conflict of interest.
you could have a conflict of interest on a lot of things, I think, that come up here, that if,
Relax.
no,
Yeah, I
right.
don't think you have to worry about that. I
Okay.
think
Small
you're-
town versus a large town, I
Yeah,
guess.
you're
Unless
not
you're
gonna
gonna-
get out of
Okay.
voting for these.
Unless you're
All
getting
right.
your own fire engine.
And-
Oh, that would be great,
Yeah.
red car.
Unless you're
Going
asking for a
into-
waiver for yourself.
No,
That's
okay.
when you'd
Then
have
I'm
to
okay,
recuse
okay.
yourself, but.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know, because I don't want it to come back on anybody, including the board or me.
Mhm.
Okay,
They need your opinion.
yeah.
Okay, real quick on my reports. It's been since March 3rd. Let's see, I had my deposition for 5C Street Extension. That was exciting.
No blows were struck, I hope.
The what was?
No blows. were
No,
struck.
no,
Any
everything was
timeline on
friendly.
that? Nothing new?
No, I still haven't gotten a copy of my deposition to tell them if it's correct or
Oh.
not, so it's slow. Let's see, we had some public information requests. One was quite lengthy, and Jen did some nice work as far as finding out how to find those files. The way we file our files is not.
That was the people that mandated this whole sewer stuff.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And I have a question on your minutes on page 1. What's the
minute.
wellness committee? Is the wellness committee the
Ah.
municipal wellness program, or is it something different?
Yes, I'm part of the Cape Cod Municipal Health
Okay.
Group's Wellness Committee now.
Okay, all right.
Um,
Paula
so
was that before.
Paula was that
Okay.
before. So I am now,
I was kind of hoping it was an expansion for the town, but I guess not, if it's the municipal
No.
wellness.
it's for employees.
Yeah, I know
right.
about, yeah, I could have done that.
Let's see, we had, regular Board of Health stuff during the week. We've gotten our seasonal licenses out, motels, pools, beaches, food, and those are coming back. We haven't had too many issues with that, but we will be sending out second notices soon. We have a prospective restaurant owner looking at the former Bonat's Bakery coming in tomorrow to meet with me.
Oh.
So hopefully we'll have someone in there for the summer.
Is their restaurant closing too?
It's
What
been
Bonat's?
closed.
It's been closed.
Bonat's has been, Bonat's has been
Bonat's.
closed since the fall.
Yeah, I thought it was just seasonal, but they're not reopening.
No, they're gone. Yep, she's not coming back.
Lovely, lovely letter here.
Yes, I
Yep,
did
yep.
draft the letter for,
Yep, thank you.
HOCA. They were very happy with that. Pam came in and signed it. Let's see. We have had lots of questions and answers about the sewer project, so that's an ongoing everyday question for us. I did go to the DEP winter seminar. No new regulations coming up that we need to worry about as far as Title V goes right now.
Wellfleet Chicken Coop and Farm, event permit.
Wellfleet Chicken Coop and Farm is a new event permit. They have a commercial kitchen in Wellfleet where they package cheese and candies and things like that, and they want to sell them at our farmer's market.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Have you had any feedback on this Dunkin' Donuts at the mobile station?
Hunter's been working with them.
Good.
They've been dragging their feet, but he's been going every week
Good,
to check on them, make sure they're doing it properly.
good, thank you.
Yeah. And some good news, last winter I applied for an intern to come from the Department of Public Health, and we were approved. So, starting in June, we will have Lauren Daniels. She's a master's in public health candidate, and she's doing an internship for Department of Public Health, and we're gonna have her 2 days a week, and I've asked
Great.
her to do some public health outreach on healthy eating and healthy exercise, maybe some type 2 diabetes.
Maybe she and I could talk.
Yes, Yes, you can.
Since
So
I
that-
work there and since that was what I've been trying to encourage the Board of Health or
Yes.
the town to get involved in.
So she's coming free of charge, and will be starting June 1st, throughout the summer. It is for her master's degree, so she'll have a product at the end of the summer for us to give out to rec program participants, something over at the community center, something that we can put out there for education that's more than just a pamphlet that goes home in somebody's lunchbox, so.
We should connect up with the Barnstable Extension, because they do as you probably already know, they do a program every Tuesday to teach people around hypertension and diabetes. So some of their printed resources we could connect up with, and would,
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd be thrilled in a good way, and that would save some time and effort to redraft them from scratch.
Sure would. I'll let her know.
Yeah.
All right, it's 7 now.
That's great.
7 o'clock. Shall we move on to old and unfinished next, or where
We
were
do not have any.
We do not have any.
We can move on to new business.
New business. Discussion on Route 149, 137, the fire station. We'll start with that one.
Yes, we will.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, we have 3 items to discuss. The first is to allow the continued use of the existing septic system until such time as the sewer can be connected. The second is a variance from 310
Did you sign in?
CMR
Please. sign in.
15.229.
Thank you.
Title 5 to allow 100% of the design flow to be pumped to the septic tank. And the third is to demonstrate compliance with the Board of Health groundwater protection regulation for land use that results in impervious cover of more than 15% or 2,500 square feet of any lot, whichever is greater, unless a system of artificial recharge of precipitation is provided that will not result in the degradation of groundwater quality.
Yeah, they said it was 18% anyway, right? So what is an impervious cover?
Pavement or
Just
roof.
pavement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nathan Ketchel. I work for Garcia, Gluskin de Souza, the civil engineers on the fire station project. The fire station, as you probably all are aware, currently but it's on the corner lot of Route 39 and 137, with access currently from Route 137. They're proposing to construct a new fire station on the northeast side of the lot with access from Route 39. It's my understanding that the town, at the May town meeting, are considering the design and construction of a new municipal sewer. So this project would start likely the end of this summer with an expected completion summer of 2019. During that 2-year time, we would like to seek permission to connect the new station to the existing septic system that currently serves the existing station. And it's not expected, basically once the new station is built, everybody from the old station will be moved into the new one and the existing one demolished. And the land, I believe, at this time will be grassed over. Loam and seed will be placed until a further time when the town decides if they want to do anything with that land. So with it being basically an apples-to-apples trade of personnel over to the new building, we would request that during that 2.5 year time that the project be allowed to continue to use the existing system, which I have visited. I did notice on the septic tank that I believe it's the outlet baffle, which was a concrete type, had eroded. So we're proposing replacing those baffles with an outlet tee as well as new inlet tees for the existing station's service, as well as the force main that we're proposing to connect into that tank. Sorry, get my bearings. while, you know, we're talking about that, you know, it would basically be a trade of personnel. I have talked to the water department. They gave me annual readings for the past 2 years, which indicates that I believe it's approximately, the actual water meter readings for the building are approximately 220 gallons per day, which with Title V, bringing that number up to the 200% value brings it to 440. The existing system, we were lucky enough to be able to review the existing drawings as well as when they did a repair in 1994. The original system was designed, I believe, for 520. 520.
On the first page,
Um,
the bottom.
Well, that's what we're estimating the design to be. I
Oh.
believe the system is designed for 535 gallons per day right now, which, going by the actual water meter reading, shows that they are currently underneath that existing value. Also looking at, when we did the police station on Sison Road, we had worked with 20 gallons per person per day, which right now they're proposing to do 4 shifts of 5, which would be the 20 people, so 400 gallons. Just to have a little bit of a buffer, we did bring it up to the 26 personnel to bring the amount up to the 520, which basically mimics what the existing flow is, or the existing design flow is. So it seems like in these couple of directions, what we're thinking that this fire station is going to produce for flow is relative to what it is right now, or all kind of ties back to itself. So that's waiver number 1 that's being requested. The second waiver is with the new station being installed on the eastern portion of the property. That part of the property is at a
Could you
lower
sign in?
elevation.
Thank you.
Therefore, we're requesting to be able to pump from the existing, or from the proposed station to the existing septic tank, which is a matter of, I believe, approximately 14 feet of total dynamic head at a rate of 50 gallons per minute, which Title V says you should stay under 60. So we did go with 50, just as a number to work with the available pumps. Then as well, I believe these gentlemen just came from the planning board hearing on the project. The town engineer did review the stormwater calculations, essentially with the impervious cover being, you had mentioned 19%.
18%, yeah, I think.
I had, based on a delineation I did, it 29,235 is the existing impervious cover, which I come up with approximately 21%.
Okay.
Under the proposed, we're basically going up to 28%. Right now, the site does have some infiltration of the existing building. There are some flat roof areas that have interior roof drains that are piped to, I believe it's basically manhole barrels with open bottoms that handle the roof portion there. I believe the remainder of the roof discharges to grade as well. The existing floor drains in the apparatus area, they go from the interior to an oil water separator and then to its own infiltration type structure. What exactly the condition is at the bottom of those, that one, we don't know. But under the proposal, and this ties back to connecting the building, we are proposing a 2,500 gallon double wall fiberglass holding tank that will accommodate the discharge from the apparatus area floor drains as well as the mechanical room within the building. Floor drains in restrooms and those types of portions of the building would go to the lift station and up to the existing septic system. The site is also, or the sanitary is set up in a way where when the municipal sewer does come in, it will be a relatively simple conversion to allow it to go down to Route 39 through that. For the site stormwater, as we were just discussing over on the other side, All of the parking areas, paved areas are graded to either deep sump catch basins, which are then discharged to stormwater separators, or we're utilizing inlet-type stormwater separators that achieve, when you have the deep sump catch basin with the stormwater separators, I believe it's 81% total suspended solids removal prior to discharging to the infiltration areas versus 75% for the water quality inlet catch basin, which is located in the visitor parking lot. Essentially, the site will retain all stormwater, or relatively speaking, all the paved surfaces will be retained on site up and through the 25-year storm. And then between the 25-year and the 100-year, there is an uptick in discharge from the Route 39 apron side of the building, which is at a decreased rate and volume than the existing condition is right now. So essentially, everything up through the 25-year storm will be retained.
Which is
On
now a
site.
5-year storm, right?
It seems to be going that way.
So is what you're telling us, see if I get this right, I think it's right in the second paragraph, what you're doing is you're asking for this waiver to cover until the new building is in place in the summer of 2019, and when the septic comes in, which is anticipated to be 2021. So basically, it would be approximately 3 years
Yeah.
that you'd be from the old to the new.
Correct.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I also did, I reviewed the structural integrity of both the septic tank and the leaching pit. It was noted that the leaching pit, which is serving as the soil absorption system, was retaining water. And what we're proposing to do is have the fire department on a monthly basis monitor
Oh, good.
where that water level is. It's always set at the same, I've observed it over a matter of 2 or 3 months. It was always sitting at the same elevation. So we are asking that they, on a monthly basis, review where that level is, and if necessary, if it's exceeding the capacity of that structure, that it is pumped, and then continue to monitor it during that period of flux
That's
before the
wise.
sewer
Thank you.
comes in.
Thank you.
Any other questions, or? Okay.
You want my recommendation?
Oh,
Yeah, I'd like to hear the, anything from the, yeah, thank you.
I'm learning as we go along in this, but as far as monitoring that, I would be probably more comfortable, we use Robert Hour now company to monitor the public safety facility. And I don't believe it would cost a lot of money to have them once a month go out and check that, so we know officially what's going on there.
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, we're good at a lot of things, monitoring septic systems, not one.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good use of
Us
your
either.
resources. You guys are a little busy. And
Well,
they'd be-
I would have Robert Hour company.
Yeah, no, we'd have great faith in them.
Okay.
We can
And
make
actually,
that,
sorry,
go ahead.
with that monitoring that's going to be going on, the manhole that is covering that structure is
Yep.
currently buried approximately 3 inches below grade. We are proposing that it does get raised to grade and a concrete collar be installed around it so that it doesn't have the opportunity to move around
Sure,
during
yeah,
those
that's a good point.
operations.
We can see it, keep an eye on it. Is that in, do we need to add any of these excellent points?
Oh, we can add that in.
Common sense, that's a great point.
I have a question about the monitoring. Having worked for the state, which is a real stickler, anytime you have a contract, you're not allowed to award a contract to someone unless you have 3 bids. So even though I have absolutely no issue with Mr. Hour, is it something that the town of Harwich asks for, is that when there's a job like that, that it goes out to bid?
There's certain thresholds for levels of how much money things cost before things have to go out to
Oh.
bid, but
Okay,
we are fully aware of
We're
that.
currently contracted with them.
Anyway.
To pump and
Okay.
maintain that system anyways.
Oh, so you're all, that's just a continuation of the
Yep,
same
just
contract?
add some monitoring to that.
Okay,
It'll fall below the scope of needing to rebid the job.
good.
Anybody else? No? No? Okay, can we hear the recommendation to help director, please?
I recommend approval of all 3 variances or waivers with the following conditions: that a ring and cover be brought to grade for the existing septic system and leaching pit, for monthly visual inspections to monitor effluent levels, that the existing system is pumped as necessary to prevent backup of sewage or discharge to the surface of the ground. The cost of engineering of a sewer connection should be factored into the project, as well as construction costs to abandon the existing Title V and connect to the sewer main. And lastly, that the connection to the sewer main take place within 45 days of availability.
Hmm.
So once the sewer system is ready to accept flow, 45 days later, they should connect.
Just be prepared to be very busy on the 44th day.
I,
They could apply for a waiver.
they can apply for an extension.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
No, don't we have to make the points?
Say again?
Well, unless we accept everything you said,
Do
which
you-
is true.
right,
I'll
yes.
make the motion that we look at the 4 points that you discussed, which is looking at the ground cover, the monthly inspections with pumping as needed, the sewer fee we worked into the budget, and then the 45-day availability once the connection's made. I think those are the major points that you made, correct?
That's right.
Point of order, I have a request from the floor. Are we still open?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
You can ask.
I wonder if you might want to reconsider the 45 days and time period, because I know that's for septic, but when this line comes through, all these Harwich are going to be trying to connect at the same time. And I don't know how that works, but that may be necessarily somehow the fire norms are, has a lot of ability, whether you can pressure them to get first priority.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, might want to make some 45 days, I don't know, it's a reasonable time, 90 days or some, because Shadow's also doing the same, there's only so many connected. That concerns me, 45
Right.
days is short.
Just to clarify, not everyone is, most people are going to have a year to connect once the system's available. It's for systems that are
Top
limping
priority.
along until they're able to connect, or they're currently failed that we're allowing to be used. We're giving them a waiver to use a failing system. So I think their time frame should be less, but that's certainly up for discussion.
Why don't we give them 120 days? That would give them a season, basically. It happens in summer, we're looking towards the fall. Happens in the winter, we're looking towards the spring. Do you think that would be reasonable? So we can put a date, we have to put a date on it of some sort, and then we could always revisit it, but maybe that would be, because you're gonna have whatever business you're gonna be doing, and the last thing we're gonna do is impede your work as it's an operating fire station. So we don't wanna be jammed up in a small
In the middle
amount
of
of
the
time.
summer, right?
Don't we,
And I
shouldn't?
think that
Oh, sorry.
maybe 120 days would be a good ballpark.
Isn't there gonna be some kind of a list of priorities, like, I would put the fire department like number 1? Is there a rank so that we're not kind of like guessing what's the best time? I would think that really important town facilities, like the fire department, should be ranked higher than a small home, for example, that's a summer home.
We don't do that work,
Oh.
so that's contracted out by a private company like Robert
Oh,
Hour
oh,
or something
oh,
like that,
so
so
we can't
we
favor
can't
them.
prioritize their work list.
Oh, Well, do the 20 days then, or 90 days or whatever.
Let's go 120, give them a whole season, takes the pressure off of everybody.
Okay,
Good.
They'll see it coming down the pike, that's for sure. It won't be a
they can always do it
shocker,
earlier,
but
they can always do it in
rather
45 if
before
they're
they
ready.
get, in-
Yeah.
you know, just
Yep.
so we don't have to spend a lot of time getting in front of us for another
Yeah,
extension.
true.
We can give them enough leeway to take care of it and that,
I will assure you
Right.
it will be done as quickly as possible.
yeah, I have no worries about
I
that.
appreciate the
Yeah.
some latitude, but I'll assure you we'll get it done as quick as possible.
Yeah, I think, if we look at it seasonally, that's a nice way to do it, because if it's snowing, we're not gonna, you know, if we're going into the
True.
fall.
We need a second.
So,
So I'll
and then
modify my comments to say
120.
120.
Okay.
do we need to open, matter of course, do we need to open, close everything? I don't think
You
we've been
should
doing
close the
that.
hearing.
So before we take the
Oh.
motion under, close the hearing.
Right.
I'll make a motion to close the hearing. Cynthia, could you relay that once more?
Knowing
matter of
Jen,
point.
she's got it all down. So I accept the recommendations of the Director of the Board of Health, which are the following 4 points: a ground cover, the monthly inspection of the system with pumping, when necessary, the sewer fee worked into the budget, and then 120-day availability once the system is in place, up to 120 days they have. I think that's it. Is that it, Jen? Okay.
All right, let's take it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Do you have to second? Do you have to make a second?
That's correct. Second.
That's you.
Cynthia's
Second,
motion.
I guess I.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a yes, so we need you.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck.
Just a question on one of the things you said about the sewer fee,
Sure.
the yearly fee, is that what you're talking about?
No, we're talking about the
The
cost
connection
to
fee.
connection, right.
Because that might,
Engineering.
that connection might, I don't get hung up on technicality, you said it was part of the project, so we'll need to, it'll most likely be long gone. So it'll be, might be outside the scope of the construction project.
Correct.
It'll be the responsibility of the fire department, town of Harwich, to make sure that that happens. I just don't want to get hung up on technicality.
No, yeah, it's got to come from somebody. So if it's not already in the budget,
Is that a known value of what that connection cost is?
There's a
should be.
ballpark, the engineering company should be able to give you an idea of what that cost is.
based on the location of it and how far you're going to take it to where it's going to run by the building, I
Right,
think they
So as
could
part of that,
probably,
we would just hold that money somehow,
Right.
escrow, part of
Right.
the project.
what I want to avoid is, in 3 years, when it's time to connect, they're not, to have to go back to town meeting for money to do this. You know, I don't want that to
Yeah.
have to get
Yep,
reapproved.
yep.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
everybody good?
Oh, does that cover the other way?
Okay.
All set.
Sorry.
All three, all set.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
Get out!
Get those engines roaring.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay.
Next, we have an amended environmental impact report for Saquotucket Harbor, 715, 734 Route 28, to demonstrate compliance with the Harwich Board of Health Regulation 1.211 environmental assessment. The original environmental impact report was approved at the July 11th, 2017 Board of Health meeting.
So I'll open the hearing.
We're getting it.
Is it open?
Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, Dan Croto from Moran Engineering. The original septic system was, as Megan had said, the original environmental impact report was approved back in July, and it was approved in a septic system plan of 6/27/17 was approved. And so our latest plan, due to money issues, the It's kind of been a moving target in that a food service had been removed from the Saquatucket project. We designed a different septic, or a scaled-down septic. Now food service is back pending a town meeting vote, I believe. I'm not completely up to speed with the political part of it, but I believe that the town meeting in May, the final decision will be made whether to have food service at Saquatucket Harbor or not food service. So getting back to the plan I believe we're here for tonight is back with a small food service, a takeout snack shack, which is my understanding the harbor master, who is obviously the person on the scene, sees a need for, he sees people waiting for the charter boats and waiting for the ferry, and people keep asking him about food. So I think that he certainly sees a reason for having some form of food service close by. So changes since what was approved, I think talking about design storms and stuff, and we did have the opportunity to catch a couple of big storms last year to see how high groundwater was going to come. One being that above 5-inch rain in I believe it was in July or early August. So getting to Matt's point from before, that's classified as a 50-year storm, but now who knows? After last year's, we ended up with I think three above 25-year storms. So we did verify that our high groundwater, nothing had gone above what we had spec for high groundwater in the leaching area. We have, after discussions with town engineering department and in reviewing expected design flows, we have sized everything for that and gotten the approvals from the companies for the IA septic system and the size of the tanks and recirculation tanks. There's no large change from what was originally designed. The IA system itself went from a 5 horsepower blower down to a 4.5 horsepower. And a smaller IA tank went from the 9.0 to the 4.5 based on the expected flows. I'm not really sure what else to say. We need to go over. I found out about this just basically yesterday. Megan said it was going to be brought up again because right now we have an approval for a plan from back last July or last June, and we have a updated plan. I guess if the board does approve, I would hope that we could approve in a certain way that if the snack shack is not allowed, that we don't have to return for the reduced size system. But I will open it up for questions.
I just wonder what FAST stands for, that's all.
Fixed activated sludge treatment.
Thank you.
It's what it is. It's a fixed media within a tank, and then the air blows. When you're dealing with these IA treatments to hit the secondary treatment, you generally either you're either pumping water up through an aerated media, or you're pumping air into a fixed media with the that's in the water. So it's one or the other. In this case, the fixed media was a better option. So that's.
No further questions.
None? Okay, I'm going to close the hearing. I'm going to hear close the hearing, and then we'll hear the recommendation of the...
I'll just give you a little brief overview, what Dan was saying is basically, we're changing the size of the fast tanks that are there. The rest of the plan is the same, the gallons per day. The nitrogen load, your overall nitrogen load is still the same as far as the environmental impact review goes. What they have done is changed out the technology, which changes the date of the plan. So we approved a specific dated plan, and I do agree with the changes that they've made. I think they'll have the same amount of environmental protection. So I do recommend the approval of the change, and I would agree with Dan in saying that I think we should agree to approve the environmental impact statement or environmental impact report, and further revisions to the plan can be looked at staff level unless they impact flow, an increase in flow.
So
I move that we accept the director's report.
do I hear a second?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Pass unanimously.
Get out of here.
Hopefully on this one, we won't see you again.
Oh, we thought we were so nice. We thought you'd want to see us again, but not on this.
I'll see you again, that's for sure.
Okay.
Wait till they put that restaurant in, we'll be getting you back again.
That'll be an interesting one.
We'll see you at the snack shack.
You'll see Jen and Megan, you won't see us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Bye.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. Thank you.
Next, we have 2 applications for extensions of sampling variances for Massachusetts Tier 3 beaches, Earl Road and Pleasant Bay. The Department of, Mass Department of Public Health allows for sampling extensions for variances when a beach has not had a failure. You're allowed to report monthly rather than weekly for sample results. So these 2 beaches are due for a variance extension. They have not failed water quality tests in the last 4 years. So we do need to approve the variance, and then it goes up to the state for their approval. So it's pretty cut and dry. They give us a list every year of those that are due for extensions and those that are no longer applicable. And this year, we have 2 beaches that can be extended.
So my question is then, since you are inspecting the beaches, if one of these 2 happens to fail, is it the decision made at that point that they would do it weekly until it's cleared?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What does the number highest sample result actually indicate?
These are E. coli.
Because there was a big jump, from 2016 to 2017, and
Yeah.
I didn't know whether that was bad or good.
It's all below, I think the sample maximum is 204
Oh,
for an
okay.
exceedance, so they're all very, very low.
And was that jump due to the weather, you think, due to the storms?
Sometimes when they do get sampled after storms, and we
Yeah.
do see an increase,
Yeah,
and
sure
also
enough.
the later in the season, the more
240
beta
is
load.
your max, right?
204, yeah, 204 is
204.
the max.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you're saying this is for E. coli, and what about like red tide? Is that included in this one or
That's
not?
not, Enterococcus is the other indicator organism, and when we get those indicator organisms, it can be a sign of other bacteria. So we close the beach when they exceed 2 days in a row. Should they fail a sample, we have to go back to weekly testing for another 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Important,
Yeah.
very important. Clean beaches, clean water. We're in
Well,
resort
basically,
community.
if what you're checking, just not to elongate this too much, but just as a point of education, what you're really checking is nature. I mean, basically, this isn't the disposal of bathroom facilities on the beach, isn't it just looking at the water quality? So in a way, it's out of the hands of everybody but Mother Nature.
And the users,
The users.
Oh, the users, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
just a little.
And so when they go back to, so what happens when it's closed? Who gets educated as to how to prevent further contamination?
When it's closed the day of, is that what
Mhm,
you're talking about? If we do have to close a beach, we go to the beach and do education on site
Oh,
because we do have to
good,
get
okay.
people out of the water.
Okay,
So we do have to educate them on what to expect if they swim in the water, if they're going to get sick, these are the signs, and
I'm making sure that babies have diapers on, that kind of thing, yeah, okay.
A lot of different setbacks.
Yeah, oh, okay, all right, thank you.
so we do need a motion. on
Okay,
this.
could I, thank you, Megan. I'll close the hearing. Can I get a motion?
Mhm.
I move that the recommendation of the healthcare director be approved for both sites.
And I'll second that.
Okay, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Let's hope it goes down again in 2018.
We'll wait and see.
Okay.
Now we have a list of permits for
Permits.
approval.
Did everyone get a chance to look over the permit list?
Mhm.
Any
What happened to
questions?
Noble House? Did they ever?
They did,
They
they
good.
did comply.
Hooray.
Phew. I've been having friends pressuring me to think about going there.
It's a lot of fun.
I don't think so, until things
If you
turn
don't mind
around.
getting hit with a shrimp now and then.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Any, can I hear any discussion on the permits?
Any, I don't see our friendly Jake Rooney's on here.
They
I
would have
stand.
approved, they would have gone through in December, they're
So
an
they were
annual.
approved, okay.
And the Claddock Inn is no longer, is that correct? It's out of business?
Under new management, the Clatter is now Harwich Inn and Tavern.
Hmm.
Okay.
That was smart of them to change the name.
I think that's
Okay.
getting leased right now with a new operator.
And they will be subject to an inspection before they open.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the permit listed.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are accepting the permits.
Last thing on our agenda tonight is the discussion to update the groundwater protection regulation.
Mhm.
We currently have a groundwater protection regulation that I have amended to make a few changes to come up with current wording and current regulations. Firstly, we have a section in there that refers to a Zone 2 map that's dated December 1999. This map has been amended and is now most recently dated October of 2015. I suggest that we amend our regulation to read the current date and then at sequitur, is that what you call it? So we can not come back every time this map is,
And it's going to happen again.
yes,
And again.
yes. So every time it gets changed, our regulation will automatically reflect the new date
Okay.
and not have to be updated every time.
Very clever.
Sometimes, yeah.
So that requires a vote, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and the second thing in the regulation is we don't define sewage treatment facilities, and our regulations prohibit sewage treatment facilities in Zone 2s unless it's for a failed system. And that means we don't allow IA systems to increase flow. And I'm not proposing that we change that ruling, I'm just proposing that we clean up the language so we can have it read enhanced nitrogen removal systems instead of sewage treatment facilities, because sewage treatment facilities is very broad and sometimes can
That's
be
a lot more accurate of what they were asking.
misinterpreted.
Yeah, sure.
Nobody's paying any attention to phosphorus though, right?
We do talk about phosphorus in our septic regulations in our 1.211. It's not part of this, because that's more of a freshwater pond issue than groundwater.
Okay.
So we can talk about that another time. And then the third section, Section G currently reads underground storage tanks, and you'd think that would be fairly clear. However, someone asked if that meant septic tank storage tanks. So I thought we should clean that up while we're doing it and have it read underground fuel storage tanks.
Mm.
That is something that's prohibited in our water recharge areas. So I'm proposing those regulation changes, just wording changes, and attached to my memo is the entire regulation with my changes in red with crossouts. So there's just the three. Oh, is yours not in red? Okay.
That's okay.
It's in italics, though.
Okay.
I would just probably suggest that you put the date on the bottom of each page in case they get separated, and, yeah, probably just put the date.
So if we were to go forward with these, we would need to have it posted in the paper because it is a
Oh.
regulation change. It would need to be printed in the paper for 2 weeks and then have a public hearing on it before we can vote.
Sure.
So I just have it for you to look at and decide if,
Promise to read it.
Yeah, let's bring it forward. I think it's a good,
And Jen, I would date the pages,
nice
not date.
housekeeping
Number.
issue.
they are numbered in our
Somewhere.
regulation book.
Okay.
So we'll look at it for next month.
Okay,
Oh, this is next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
just so you can have a chance to look at it, make any
Okay.
changes,
All right.
read through the regulation, and if there's anything else you want changed, now's the time.
No need for a vote on this, then? We do it after the posting, okay. Well,
Short
I
and
think that's
sweet.
it.
Someone needs to,
Well, I
think
make a
we're- I
motion
think
to
we're
adjourn the
complete.
meeting? Oh, no, I thought it had to be the chair.
no, it can't be the chair.
Okay.
Can't be the chair.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the
I would
meeting.
second that.
All
All
in
right.
favor?
Woo-hoo.
There we go.
Home and
We
do
did
laundry.
it.
Great.
Thank you.
Jenny, happy with everything?
I don't know how you keep all this in your head.
That's why they pick
Yay.
people